Hey everybody, MrThefanboy here. This is my short audio review of all the TNA pay-per-views that aired this year. That's Slammiversary 2016, Destination X 2016, and of course Bound for Glory 2016. This is a short audio narration overview of each pay-per-view. I'm gonna do longer in-depth reviews, in-depth webcam reviews of these pay-per-views much later on tonight. But right now, this is an audio review of each pay-per-view, and the very first one, as you can see by the poster here, is Slammiversary 2016. Slammiversary 2016 was a phenomenal show. As always with TNA, totally exceeded my expectations. Coming into Slammiversary 2016, apart from the main event, which was Bobby Lashley and apart from the main event, which was Bobby Lashley and Drew Galloway, and of course EC3, 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 EC3 and Mike Bennett's the Hardy Boys' Full Metal Mayhem match and um the tag team match between Grotto and Shira versus the Tribunal. These were the matches I cared much for. I really didn't care much for Slammiversary 2016 because all of the impacts leading up to Slammiversary 2016 were leading up to were amazing. I didn't see how TNA was going to top that, and I was once again disappointed to hear that the venue for Slammiversary 2016 once again was going to be in Orlando, Florida, the Impact Zone, and I don't have that much of a problem with the Impact Zone, but the main problem I have with the Impact Zone is the Impact Zone is part of the park, which means you can't charge money. You can't charge money for tickets. The Impact Zone is part of the park, so the people who are in the Impact Zone didn't pay to get into the Impact Zone. They paid at the park gate to get in to see to go to the Slammiversary show. So that's the problem I have with the Impact Zone. But to tell you the truth, after watching the show, the Impact Zone did not harm the show at all. The Impact Zone did not harm the show at all. So with that being said, like I said, this was an awesome show. Every match, this was an awesome show from beginning to end. From the opening four-way X Division match between Eddie Edwards, Trevor Lee, Andrew Everett, and DJZ for the X Division Championship was awesome. Then of course, like I said, the match I was looking forward to the most, that was the Tribunal, Basali, Baraka, and Baron Dax with Al Snow defeating Grotto and Mahabali Shira. Of course, you had Sienna defeating Jade and Gail Kim in a triple threat match for the TNA Knockouts Championship. Then of course, oh yes, another match. Actually, this was an impromptu match. This was actually my favorite match of the night, my number one favorite match of the night from this show, and that was James Storm defeating the debuting Braxton Stutter. Love Braxton Stutter, man. And this right here was an awesome. This right here was a phenomenal match. Then you had another underrated gem on this card, and that was Eli Drake defeating Bram for the King of the Mountain Championship. Of course, you had Ethan Carter the third defeating the defeating the Miracle Mike Bennett. The ending of this match was spectacular. First off, the match was back and forth. It was the longest 15 minutes I've ever seen. I'm reading the time here. It was 15 minutes, but the end of this match, Ethan Carter hit a TKO. He hit Mark Merrow and Consequences Creed's move, the TKO, then knocked him out with a three percenter. Then of course, you had the Full Metal Mayhem match between Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy, which there really isn't much words to describe how awesome this match was. Then of course, oh yes, another match that surprised the hell out of me was the Decay match between Abyss and Crazy Steve with Rosemary defeating the Bromance, Robbie E and Jesse Goddard with Raquel. Now, even though the Bromance didn't win this match, I love how Decay really put over the Bromance as a threat in this match. The Bromance actually came close to beating Abyss and Crazy Steve in this match. So happy with Robbie and Jesse Goddard's being taken serious, being badass faces instead of being comedy heels, comedy jobbers. They were legit title contenders this night. And I loved first of all, I love Robbie and Jesse Goddard's face, and I love how seriously they're taken now in comparison to when both of these guys first came into TNA, where they were just jobber bitches for every other wrestler on the roster. Now they're mainstream, not mainstream, but they're major players on Impact Wrestling, man. Then of course, the main event, the physicality, Lashley defeating Drew Galloway by knockout. This was an awesome match. There were so many awesome spots in this match. One being where Drew Galloway hit Lashley. Drew Galloway while on the steps put Lashley in the sharpshooter. And the ending of the match, which featured Lashley knocking out Drew Galloway, then putting him in the vice for the put him in the anaconda vice for the knockout for the knockout to become the TNA Champion. World Heavyweight Champion. Like I said, an awesome show. I also love the production theme this pay per view had, and like I said, just a phenomenal show, man. Now the next show is Destination X 2016. Now Destination X, unlike previous broadcasters of Destination X, this right here was actually an Impact special, but I'm putting it under pay per view because while this was just another Impact, it was much bigger. It was much bigger than, let's say, the previous It was much bigger than any normal episode of Impact. Of course, this pay per view, of course, can use to continue the tradition that began in 2012 with Austin Aries, where an X Division wrestler, the X Division champion, cashes in his X Division championships and invokes Option C, which forces him to vacate his X Division championship and challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship. And this right here was another phenomenal show. First off, you had a phenomenal ladder match to start the show with DJZ defeating Rockstar Spud, Mandrews, Braxton Stutters, the Helms Dynasty, Trevor Lee, and Andrew Everett in an awesome six-man match for the X Division Championship. DJZ narrowly defeats all of them and is attacked by Mike Bennett at the end of the match. And that later leads to a impromptu match between Mike Bennett and DJZ. Mike Bennett, of course, who earlier in the show promised he would ruin Destination. He would ruin Destination X, and with distraction from the other X Division wrestlers, Mandrew, Stutter, and of course even the heels, the Helms Dynasty, DJZ rolled up and upset it Mike Bennett. Then of course Bram defeated Abyss in a good TV match. Sienna defeated Gail Kim, Jade, and Marty Bell to win the Knockouts to retain the Knockouts championship. Then of course Drew Galloway and Ethan Carter III. This was an awesome fight. This was an awesome street fight. Both Ethan Carter III and Drew Galloway were dressed in jeans for this fight. Then of course you had the main event between Lashley and Eddie Edwards would end in a no contest, because this right here is where Moose debuted in Impact Wrestling and attacked both men and aligned himself with Mike Bennett. But I didn't review it when it aired, but I actually saw Destination X 2016 when it aired on television, and Now I did. I stayed off the spoiler. I stayed off the spoiler websites, and I could have sworn Moose, like I said, was going to WWE when he showed up in the Impact Zone when that music was played. Even as he was coming out, I couldn't believe that Moose was in TNA, was in the Impact Zone. I still couldn't believe it. Even while his music was playing and while he was slowly approaching the ring, I still couldn't believe that Moose was in Impact Wrestling, man. But yeah, man. Like I said, man, Moose, man. But like I said, and see, like I said, I didn't read. I stayed off the spoiler website, so this was a complete shock. It was just like watch. It was watching wrestling the way it was meant to watch. I didn't read any spoilers, so this came as a huge surprise. Because like I said, I heard about Moose leaving Ring of Honor months ago. I could have sworn he was going to end up in WWE, and nope, he shows up here in TNA. Of course, the origin of this is because WWE decided not to hire him after hearing about his domestic violence, domestic violence abuse, something like that. Yeah. Whatever. I don't care. This is TNA. This is TNA's gain. This is TNA's gain, especially after seeing Goldberg's performance at Survivor Series. TNA's gain. TNA's gain. Moose's TNA's gain. So yeah, that next is um now next is Bound for Glory. Man, was this right here a phenomenal show. A phenomenal show. Once again, as always, every match from beginning to end was the best. Every match from beginning to end was the best. Of course, my favorite matches and moments from Bound for Glory are, of course, the 10-man Bound for Glory Gauntlet match. Gauntlet match. This is actually the match I'm probably looking forward to. This is the match I'm looking forward to the most at Bound for Glory. The 10-man Gauntlet match to decide who gets a shot at the TNA Heavyweight Championship. Not only do I like the concept of a battle royal determining the determining who gets a shot at the TNA Heavyweight Championship. But I like how wrestlers who are not really who are not really participating in major angles or just not booked on the pay per view. It gives them something to do. It gives them something to do. So yeah, I was kind of disappointed with Eli Drake. I was kind of disappointed with the Eli Drake winning, and of course my man Braxton Stutters shorts tenured here in this battle royal. But this right here was an awesome gauntlet match. Then of course the Moose Mike Bennett match, the pay per view debut of Moose, the Impact pay per view debut of Moose. Of course you also had, oh yes, the insane Matt Hardy and Brother Nero decay decay hardcore match that went all over the place. And you had this weird guy, I think his name is Itchweed, coming out of nowhere talking while the fight, talking all fast while the fight was going to place. This right here was just an insane brawl, man. Was an insane brawl. One of the best, coolest and weirdest and most insane matches I've ever seen, man. And I've seen a lot of bizarre matches in the world of professional wrestling, man. But this right here was the most bizarre, man. Um, then of course, oh yes, okay, but before that, you had Mike Bennett trying to you had Mike Bennett and Maria trying to hijack the pay per view, trying to hijack the pay per view, and then out of nowhere the lights went out and Cody Rhodes made his debut. Cody Rhodes and yeah, Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes made their debuts and beat the living daylights out of Bennett and Maria to the joy of the crowd. And Cody Rhodes debuted. That was such an awesome debut. Cody Rhodes debuted that awesome downstate song Kingdom, which he uses on the independent circuit. Then of course you had the you had Gail Kim, of course, defeating Maria for the Knockouts Championship, and of course her Hall of Fame induction, which had previous wrestlers like Awesome Kong and I think Taryn Terrell and many more coming down talking about their memories of putting over Gail Kim. Then of course you had the awesome main event, the physicality between Lashley and EC3, which this right here was an awesome match. And EC3, he's had a lot of awesome matches. But I would say wrestling wise, this had to be his best work yet. He hit three German suplexes on Lashley, took a spear as the first move of the match, and even tried to hit a 3 percenter from the top rope, but Lashley narrowly beat EC3 to retain his TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Like I said, man, this was a phenomenal show. My only disappointment from this show, it didn't harm the show, but once again, just like Slammiversary, this took place in the Impact Zone. But this show almost didn't happen. A third party swooped in and paid for this show. Paid for this show to paid for to continue to pay for this show to be on the air. But like I said, yeah, like I said, I mentioned in my in the Slammiversary portion of this review my problems with the Impact Zone. But like I said, this was an awesome show, and this right here was a narration review. Um, I'm gonna do a longer, in-depth review, in-depth webcam reviews of each of these shows later. But this right here was just a short overview of each pay per view. I'm gonna do a longer review later. Like I said, TNA has been so awesome this year. Too much to review, but my year end TNA year end review is coming up. Soon. I don't know if it'll be tomorrow or it'll definitely be sometime this week. But yeah, man, TNA, man. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm done.